EPMD2 is a hip hop bucket list type of collaboration. I and many others have been waiting for an M and Nas collab for years. Obviously, we know that Eminem produced The Cross for Nas, which is a nice track, and it was back in 2002, I believe, but we've wanted them rapping on the same track together for a long time. When you factor in that they decided to do this on a track paying homage to EPMD, legendary hip hop duo consisting of Eric Sermon and Parrish Smith, or Parrish Making Dollars, which is why it's EPMD, in the golden era of hip hop in general, then you have something special here. I have to get one thing out of the way first. I noticed that people were talking about this track in terms of Eminem versus Nas, in terms of rapping. They were attempting to make this into a massive competition between MCs, the people on the internet, and all the conversation I was seeing. The problem is that that is clearly not what Eminem and Nas were going for on this track. It's not the point at all. They weren't trying to kill each other lyrically here. I believe they truly wanted to simply rap well together while paying homage to legends in hip hop. If you noticed, Nas, EPMD, and Eminem followed the same formula for their verses, and that's mainly what I'm going to talk about today. I could talk about a lot, but that's what I'm going to focus on. Otherwise, I'll be talking for an hour. And so the formula of their verses consisted of 3 points. One, they did a little bit of brag rap slash money talk. Two, they were kind of teaching and doing some motivational type material. And three, they were paying homage to the era before. And so I said they all three of the artists did this. Well, three is four artists technically, but you get what I mean. They all did this despite the varying lengths in their verses. And so we're going to start with Nas, actually, since it's his song. And I'm referring to his actual verse because the beginning of the song, he did like an intro segment before EPMD started. But I'm going to use a little bit of that intro segment and his actual verse. So he kind of uses his mafioso and luxurious venue imagery to get into his brag rap.
Done. I let it go for the family meetings in Code Miami. Them wine bottles on Maggie extra large.
And then after that, then you go back into the intro, and he gave bars speaking on the importance of giving props slash roses to the greats while they're still alive. He takes it a step further and highlights that because people don't like to do this, then you have to do it yourself. And so finally, we take it to the end of his verse where he uses his lyrics to paint the image of hip hop as Machiavelli. And he seems to paint the picture of hip hop pretending to be dead and then coming back strong and vibrant. And so some would maybe assume that he's talking about maybe the era that hip hop entered into with the trap phase, and as some will refer to as mumble rap, and kind of getting in and out of that phase. And then now a big, I guess, like renaissance in the mainstream at least for more lyrical content seems to have come up. And so it could mean a lot of different things. I would love to hear what Nas would mean when he says that. But with that said, we're going to go into what EPMD did. So next up, EPMD. First of all, I have to comment on how Eric and Parrish's back and forth, like in their rhyme, was top tier. And it was a short verse, but they killed it. It was pure entertainment. It felt smooth and impactful. So go listen to their first album, Strictly Business, by the way, and their 97 album, Back in Business, if you haven't, just to support the legends. EPMD is really good. So their brag is actually straight to the point. Remember I said the first point was brag rap. They continue the theme of referencing their album. So in the hook, it's EPMD, we're back in business. And I just said that they have an album in 97 called Back in Business. So if you notice, every artist at the beginning of that verse says, EPMD, we back in business. Like they all said it. So they did the same thing while boldly stating that they are still those dudes. They said, nobody can F with us. Parrish even said the second coming of God. Like he said, I'm the second coming of God. I was like, okay, buddy. He was wild right there. In the Mike Pence bar, it killed me. He was like, the fly in the head. I was like, okay, I see what you did there. They also came to teach a little bit.
My people can't even get minimum wage. Fuck the stimulus. Give me some interest. Give me a loan. Give me a home. Give me that land you owe me so I can roam.
It was basically a quick reparations talk from them. The message was that a stimulus isn't the move in terms of like getting an influx of money. Quick cash won't bring about change. If you want real systemic change, that must be economic equity delivered. They then name ways that can happen by asking for interest and loans, homes, etc., because these are things that build wealth, things that allow you to be more successful down the road. That is how wealth is created. These things have been systemically denied to Black Americans for centuries. So It's crazy how EPMD was like, we're gonna go and give you this quick talk, real quick, in like 3 or 4 bars about the things that are actually needed. And they sneak in at the very end their homage. So I told you the 3 points to the legends by making a quick reference to their old crew, the Hit Squad. And the Hit Squad was a group that included rappers such as K Solo, Redman, Dice Effects, and Knuckleheads. And yeah, it was just nice that they had let's shout out our guys. And then of course we come to Eminem, who just loves to rap. I imagine he's like a child, or he's in the booth with childlike exuberance when his pen hits the pad. First, I need to acknowledge that I appreciate the smoothness of that transition from Nas to M.
See letters in red splatter, look like sauce of spaghetti.
Yeah, ready? EPMD, we're back in business.
It was a great baton pass in the middle of the track. And of course, he brought us technically sound rapping and a flourish of well executed flow changes. Nas does as well, by the way, when you'll listen to his verse. So M went into a very descriptive brag slash money talk session in like the first third of his verse. He actually kind of did the most out of all of them, which I was surprised because he typically, I guess, like historically, he doesn't do a lot of money brag talk. But within the past like year or two, he's kind of incorporated that a little bit more, which is kind of interesting to hear. So the taco shell slash the ammunition, that was a double. The Christmas scheme double he did, including the reindeer one later on. By the way, some of you thought he said no elves, ELVES, like Christmas. He didn't say no elves. He said no elves, like the first Noel, Noels in Christmas. So that was actually even more impressive. And then the whole judicial system double he did there with the bail and the appellate court and the appeal and all of that. It was all good stuff. And so you move on from that, and M's motivational segment is similar to Nas's. He takes some time to reflect on a few faces in hip hop who passed away within the past couple of years, mostly in his bars, as you can hear. So the lesson you take away is to love on and show appreciation to those around you while they're still breathing and thriving. I think it's cool to see how much M and 50 love each other. We already know he feels the same about Dre as well. So also notice how when he said, tomorrow could be your death, the ad lib says, bring that beat back, and the original beat returns. And it's the little things like that are so nice. I love that, or I appreciate that attention to detail. Of course, as is customary for M, when he hops on a track with legends, he has to big up everyone who he has ever listened to in the track.
I just pray for the day when I'm able to say that I'm placed with the greats and my names with the Canes and the Waynes and the J's and the Dre's and the Ye's and the Drakes and the J Dillas, Jada's, Cool J's and the Roz and Amazing it's Nas's and praise to the gods and a shout to the golden age of hip hop and the name of the song is.
And so you can hear me, he goes, I just pray for the day when I'm able to say that I'm placed with the greats and my name's with the Canes and the Waynes and the J's and the Dre's and the Ye's and the Drakes, and the way it sounds, it's so good there. And so I love the rhymes, the cadence, and the delivery in this segment. He also does his usual transition from the verse into the hook at the end. And it's just well executed. And the reason why I say this is that I don't know if you guys listen to him a lot, but usually if you notice when he's like rapping and his verse is coming to an end, he'll usually make his verse transition into the words of the hook. Like he'll end his verse with some words that sounds like the hook is what's coming next. And he does that quite a bit if you've never noticed. So all in all, I could talk way more about this track, but I'll just say I really appreciate it. I enjoy it more every time that I play it, and I think you would too. If you listen to each person closely each time that you play it, you'll gain more and more appreciation for it. And you'll find the new intricacies from these legends, including EPMD. I would love to see Nas and M hook up again on a collaboration. I've been wanting to see it more often. I want to see them do a storytelling track together. I want to see them like do a competition style track. I know some people just want to see that in general. What about you guys? What do you want to see from Nas and M in the future if they ever get together again? And who else would you like to see Nas collaborate with? Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.